the third reading this morning. National Assembly members were unanimous that the bill, once enacted, will provide an opportunity for Kenyan investors, youth and women to benefit from government procurement and help grow the country's economy and deal with the challenge of unemployment. Francis Gashuri reports.
Day 2 of the second session of the 11th Parliament, and members of the National Assembly began debating the Public Procurement and Disposal Amendment Bill that was in the second reading. The bill aims at streamlining the procurement procedures in the country to enable the youth, women and people with disabilities to access lucrative government deals. The bill was tabled in Parliament by nominated Member of Parliament Johnson Sakaja and seconded by his Ugenya counterpart David Ochieng.
But really, we must ensure that these bills that we pass really make it easier for the intended recipients or beneficiaries of these provisions. Mr. Speaker, I would like really to urge members. Young people of this country are watching and want to see who will stand with them. Please stand with the young people of Kenya. Please. They are our last frontier of hope. They are the trustees of our posterity.
Now, this particular move by the honourable member is to ensure that they can actually access 30% of all procurement being done by the government in this country. The Speaker, the youth then must take the first step that's required to make them access this particular procurement opportunities. They must register companies as required. They must build their own capacity as required so that they are able, when given the opportunity, deliver.
Members observed that it was increasingly becoming difficult for the youth to get government deals, and hence the need for a law to boost their chances.
As long as people will not feel, as long as Kenyans will not feel that they have a stake in their own country, even these good legislations we are bringing here will come to nothing.
Some members also called for regulations to spread the national cake to as many beneficiaries as possible and deal with cartels that use crafty mechanisms to clinch government tenders.
You'll find that from 1980, the same people have benefited. They use some mechanisms, some means that are not necessarily open and transparent, Mr. Speaker, and therefore the youth who have no clout, no political positions, no family backgrounds that can sometimes influence those tenders, they have no networks, they have no connections. The same with women who will be said, of course, that's another woman, and possibly before you even get tender, you walk in there looking smart, then other considerations other than your tender document, Mr. Speaker, will speak before you actually succeed.
The lawmakers rooted for credit facilities for the youth who have no collateral to finance the procurement procedures.
A lot of big problems are in the villages. And as we put this, we want to put it clear, Mr. Speaker, that when you talk of 30%, it must be described. Are we talking of 30% in terms of the volume, or are we talking about 30% in value terms? Mr. Speaker, sir, unscrupulous people might come and say, if we have business, let's say we have tenders 1 up to 10, 1 up to 100. So when you talk of 30%, someone might say, we are going to give 33 of the items. And if you look at the 3 of the items, maybe in value terms, is only 1 million. And the rest is into billions.
The bill now moves to the third reading stage, where members will vote to either adopt it or reject it. If it passes, it will be submitted to President Uhuru Kenyatta for his assent to become law. President Kenyatta has directed that 30% of all government tenders must be allocated to the youth to empower them. Francis Gashuri, Citizen, at 1.
So 30% of all government tenders allocated for the youth. Our feedback question we're asking you, do you think it's possible? Do you think it's possible for Kenyan youths to get 30% of government tenders? Well, that's according to the proposal in the public procurement bill. What do you think? 22422 is the number. 22422 is the number. Send us your comment. Kindly, after your yes or no response, please add a statement or two, and we'll appreciate sampling some of them. Please don't forget your name and location. Appreciate it. Now, in our continuing coverage of the drought situation in Turkana that has left over 300,000 people at the brink of starvation, we look at how men are being forced to kill their most treasured source of wealth, livestock, to keep their families alive. Evelyn Wambui is here with that story of desperation and sacrifices.
The definition of drought and famine for Turkana men has always been different from that of their women and children. For them, it has always been about their animals, their source of wealth and prestige. The work of ensuring they have a meal every day, usually that of women, no matter what the food is. But the definition is now slowly changing with the nagging drought. Their animals are dying and their women are now unable to feed their families, forcing them to take up a role alien to them and do the unthinkable. Kill their animals, their source of wealth and prestige, for food. Turkana residents assemble for what seems to be an alien deed. This group of men have waylaid one of the many camels that have been walking for miles in search of food and water and killed it for food.
Ninja tu ndio tunaishi. Ngamia, mbuzi, ukame ameshika.
These men decided not to ask for permission to kill the camel from the owner, even though they know him. He's a neighbor who lives a few miles from here.
Mwenye ako na ngamia moja kama hii, unaenda tu kama mwizi. Yaani nikuomba ataninyima kwa sababu hata yeye pia ako na njaa. Afadhali tu niende kama mwizi, niwe alafu niambie.
They are, however, adamant that they will eventually ask for permission, insisting that they have even sent a young boy to his home to inform him. We ask why they cannot wait until they get permission. Their answer, simple. Their hunger cannot wait.
Tushinje, alafu tutumie mtu kwake. Tuambie tumeshinja ngamia yako. Sasa akuje tusikizane.
Desperate times calling for desperate measures for these Turkana men, now forced to address this emergency on their own. On our way back, we meet such families receiving relief food that has just arrived and ask if the families we have left behind will finally be able to get some reprieve. Seems like the farther you are, the more difficult it is to get relief. What leaves the men as the only hope for their families. Evelyn Wambui, Citizen TV, Turkana.
Thank you, Evelyn Wambui, for that report. You know, everyone has a dream in life, one they nurture, even during challenging times. For one Brian Ogola, his dream has been to attend a national secondary school and proceed to a suitable university. And like many at his age, however, the 17-year-old is still looking for a chance to join the school he so desires. But as Citizen Television found out, one thing stands between Ogola and the chance that has proved to be elusive so far.
Brian Ogola is a determined young man. As an orphan, he has found himself, more often than not, on a lone path seeking chances that have proved elusive in his journey through school. Ogola first sat for KCPE in 2012 at Kericho Headquarters Primary School, and he attained 356 marks out of the possible 500, earning him a position at Nyandarua High School. But his triumph turned into gloom when he could not raise fees to attend the school. Not one to be deterred easily, Ogola repeated Standard 8 classes in 2013, and this time he scored 387 marks in his KCPE, and he was selected to join Miranda High School. Teachers from his former school made an appeal to Miranda, and Ogola was given a time extension from the 3rd to the 15th of February to source for funds for his school fees. But the young man's efforts have not borne fruit so far, and yet again the fate of his future education hangs in the balance.
I've walked up and down we've toiled to no avail. He was supposed to report on 3rd after scoring 387 and called to Miranda High School, which is a national school. But up to now, we are stranded.
For Ogola, his prayer is that a chance to join secondary school like the rest of his peers will finally present itself.
Appealing to anyone who is willing to help me, to assist me to go to school, so I can fulfill my dream. And Nisikose chance a national school, because I really did not repeat to go anywhere, but I was really praying to go for national schools. Na nikapata chance, and hii chance tena nataka kuenda vile last year iliniishia.
For many, a 17-year-old would be in Form 4 or Form 3. But this age issue has not deterred Brian Ogola, who is now determined more than ever to join Form 1 at his dream school, if or when he gets sponsorship.
All right, a reminder of our feedback question. Well, the fact is the Public Procurement and Disposal Bill has sailed through to the 3rd reading this morning. It has a proposal that 30% of all government tenders should be given or allocated to the youth. Our question this afternoon is, do you think it is possible for Kenyan youths to get 30% of government tenders? Do you think it is possible for Kenyan youths to get 30% of government tenders? Send your comments. The number is 22422. That's 22422. Kindly include your name and location, and we'll be glad to sample some of them. All right, looking at some of them that have come in. Francisca from Shaurimoyo says, that's a big lie. Not with the old tilapias in the lake. I don't know what you're talking about. But anyways, we appreciate it. Soyinka from Nairobi says, yes, it is possible. We, however, need to clearly define who the youths are. Another one says, with this government? With the government giving China every tender, even for digital? I doubt it, even if it will take to put a bullet on my head. Kennedy Agola from Rongo says, legislations may be put in place for fairness when it comes to government tendering, but there's a big corruption cloud that has always been there. Somebody says it's possible now that the law is in place. It is a safeguard and guarantee that the youth, women and disabled, well, people with disability, will benefit. Okay, that's Mwaboza, Secretary Parliamentary Affairs. Okay, thank you so much. Aluda from Karen says, no, the same rich men and government cartels will tell their children to apply for the tenders and award them, not the common youths. Stop fooling our youths. And perhaps a viral one here. This is Violet from Nairobi, says, no, there's a lot of corruption in securing tenders. The big fish are asking for big amounts on kickbacks youth can't afford. The big fish have already registered companies for their children and relatives. What do you think? 30%? Is it possible to go for the youths? Send your comments. The number is 22422. We'll be right back with more news, and of course we'll be reading some of your comments as well. Don't go away. We'll be right back.